There is a little button hiding at almost every checkout, and more than half of Americans have already tapped it. It promises you can buy the thing you want right now, and simply pay for it later in 4 easy pieces. It feels free, it feels harmless, and that is exactly why it is quietly reshaping how a whole generation goes broke. Roughly 51% of Americans say they have used a buy now pay later plan, and about a quarter use them regularly. So today we are pulling this thing apart, because the trap is not the button. The trap is what it does to your brain. We will cover how it works, the psychology it hijacks, the fees nobody reads, and the quiet hit to your credit. And most importantly, the simple rules that let you use it without letting it use you. Quick but important note. Every number here is approximate and for education, not financial advice. So what actually is buy now pay later? At its core, it is a tiny short-term loan dressed up as a checkout button. The most common version is called Pay in 4. You split one purchase into 4 equal payments. You pay the first piece today, and then one more every 2 weeks until it is done. And here is the hook that makes it spread. On that 4-payment plan, the advertised interest is often 0. You have probably seen the names. Klarna, Afterpay, Affirm, and PayPal are the giants at the checkout. They sit right next to the buy button on your favorite stores, from clothes and gadgets to travel and even groceries. For a planned purchase you could already afford, splitting the cost interest-free can genuinely be smart. But that is not how most people actually use it, and that gap is where the trouble begins. To see the trap, you have to understand why this exploded so fast in the first place. Old-fashioned borrowing had friction. You filled out forms, you waited, you felt like you were taking a loan. Buy now pay later deleted every one of those speed bumps. 2 taps, no forms, instant yes. When borrowing becomes that easy, it stops feeling like borrowing at all. It just feels like buying. That frictionless feeling turned it into a giant. Globally, these plans moved over $500 billion in a single recent year. And the fastest adopters are young. Millions of shoppers in their 20s and 30s now reach for it by default. The companies make money whether you pay on time or not, from merchant fees and from your late fees. So the whole system is designed for one thing: to get you to say yes faster and more often. Now the real reason it works on you. It is not about math. It is about a feeling called the pain of paying. When you hand over real cash, your brain feels a small sting. That sting is a natural spending brake. Splitting the price into 4 tiny payments shrinks that sting almost to nothing. Your brain does not see $200. It sees a friendly little 50, 4 times, and says yes. Studies keep finding the same pattern. When paying feels painless, people spend noticeably more than they planned. So you add the nicer version, the extra item, the thing you would have skipped if you paid in full today. It is not that people are foolish. It is that the design quietly turns off the part of you that hesitates. And once hesitation is gone, one harmless plan quietly becomes 3, then 5, then a tangle. Here's where the free part starts to crack. That 0% only holds if every payment lands on time. Miss a date, and the friendly plan can flip into late fees and rescheduling charges. And missing is common. Nearly half of users say they have paid late at least once in the past year. That number has climbed for years, from about 1 in 3 users, to well over 4 in 10. The fees themselves can be small, but stacked across several plans they add up fast. Worse, many plans auto-charge whatever card is on file, so a late payment can trigger an overdraft too. Suddenly the thing that felt free has cost you more than if you had simply waited and paid cash. And the fees are only the visible damage. The bigger problem is the one you cannot see. That hidden problem has a name. Experts call it phantom debt, and it is growing quietly in the background. Because each plan is small and separate, no single company sees the full picture of what you owe. You might have one plan on shoes, one on a gadget, one on a flight, and one on groceries. Each feels tiny on its own, but together they become a web of payments hitting your account every week. You lose track of what is due and when, and paying one plan means falling behind on another. This is how someone earning a normal salary can still feel broke every single payday. The debt is real, the stress is real, but because it is scattered, it stays invisible until it is a crisis. And for years this invisible pile did not even touch your credit score. That is now changing. For a long time, these plans lived in a blind spot. They did not show up on your credit report at all. That felt great when you were borrowing, because it was invisible to banks and lenders. But invisible cuts both ways. Paying these plans perfectly never helped you build any credit either. Now the rules are shifting. Major credit scores are starting to fold buy now pay later into the picture. Some lenders have begun reporting these loans to the credit bureaus, both the good and the bad. Pay on time, and it can slowly help. Miss payments, and that late plan can now drag your score down. So the casual little button is quietly becoming part of your permanent financial record. Which means the habits you build with it now will follow you into every future loan you apply for. Let us ground all of this in some real numbers, so it is not just a scary story. A typical active user is not carrying a fortune. On some big platforms the average balance is only a few $100s. That sounds manageable, and for one person it often is. The danger is the direction it is moving. Late payments are rising, missed payments are rising, and more users say the plans left them worse off. Surveys keep finding a chunk of users who admit they bought things they simply could not afford. Multiply a few $100s of quiet debt across tens of millions of people, and it becomes a real force. This is not a rare disaster hitting a few unlucky people. It is a small leak in a very large number of boats. The good news is that a small leak is easy to fix, once you can actually see it. Before the fix, let us be honest about how the trap tightens in real life. It usually starts with something you genuinely wanted and could sort of justify. Then a sale appears, and pay later makes the bigger option feel painless, so you size up. Then a rough month comes, and instead of cutting back, the button lets you keep spending as if nothing changed. The payments from last month collide with the payments from this month, and the calendar gets crowded. Now even essentials like groceries end up on a plan, just to keep everything else afloat. That is the moment the tool stops serving you, and you start serving the tool. If any of that felt a little too familiar, do not worry. The way out is simpler than it looks. First, a quick gut check on who this hits the hardest, because it is not random. The most at risk are people living close to the edge, where every payday is already spoken for. It hits younger shoppers hard, because the button feels normal and cash feels old-fashioned. It hits anyone who uses the plans for wants they cannot yet afford, rather than needs they planned for. And it hits people juggling several apps at once, where no single screen shows the true total. If none of that is you, wonderful. Use the button freely and enjoy the convenience. But if two or more of those hit home, it is time for a simple reset. Here is the exact playbook to take back control, step by step. Step 1 is a mindset shift, and it changes everything that comes after it. Stop treating buy now pay later as a payment method. Start treating it as a small loan, because that is what it is. A loan is only smart when you already have the cash and simply choose to spread it out. If you would not buy it with money already sitting in your account today, that is your answer. This single question quietly filters out almost every purchase that would have hurt you. It is not about never using the button. It is about only using it from a position of strength. Once the mindset is set, the practical rules become easy to follow. So here are the 3 rules that keep you on the winning side of this button. Rule 1. Put every single plan in one place, so the invisible debt becomes visible. Write down each active plan, the amount, and the date, on one simple list or note. The moment you see the real total in one place, the fog lifts and the fear usually shrinks. Rule 2. Follow a one plan at a time limit. No new plan until the last one is fully paid off. This one habit breaks the stacking cycle that turns a small button into a tangled web. Rule 3. Use a 24-hour pause before any pay later purchase over a set amount. Most impulse buys quietly die overnight, and the ones that survive are usually the ones worth making. Follow those 3, and you flip the whole thing. The button now works for you, not against you. Now, to be fair, buy now pay later is not evil, and it is not always the wrong choice. Used deliberately on a truly 0% plan, it can be an interest-free way to spread a planned cost. It shines when you already have the money, and you simply prefer to keep some cash flexible. It can help build a little credit now that some plans report your on-time payments. The tool is neutral. It only becomes dangerous when it replaces money you do not actually have. So the goal was never to fear the button. The goal is to be the one in control of it. Which brings us to the one idea worth remembering long after this video ends. Buy now pay later did not become huge because people are careless. It grew because it is genuinely clever. It removes the pain that normally protects you, and quietly nudges you to spend a little more often. The fees, the phantom debt, and the credit impact are all just symptoms of that one simple trick. Beat the trick, and you keep all the convenience while dodging the trap almost completely. See every plan, pay one at a time, and only ever buy what you could already cover in cash. Do that, and this button goes from a quiet way to go broke, to just another tool you have mastered. If this made the button click a little differently for you, follow along, and take care of your money out there.